Hello and welcome to this unique Safe Summit showcase. We are the provider of PIPlanning.io, the leading solution to conduct remote, hybrid, and on-site safe PI plannings. PIPlanning.io is actually the solution the largest safe organizations in the world trust and the users love because of its pen and paper-like experience and its invisible, seamless, bidirectional sync to ALM tools like Jira, Rally, and Microsoft Azure DevOps. Today, we will present you something completely new, the first version of our in-person-like CrossART dependency handling. Let's remember again that dependencies are another type of risks. Dependencies in itself are kind of a threat to achieving our PI objectives. Often people proudly send me a picture of a program board that is a big tangle with strings. They then say something like, "Look at this beauty." What? I mean, it's impressive, but if one assumption is wrong, their whole plan is in danger of falling apart. Of course, we always strive to optimize the teams and our Agile Release Train so that there are fewer dependencies between teams. But we all know that takes time. Today we want to focus on what you can do to get alignment and transparency when it comes to dependency handling within an art, but also across arts. One of the biggest challenges our customers faced before using PIPlanning.io was transparency. Transparency is one of the 4 core values of SAFe, or how Kent Beck, one of the authors of the Agile Manifesto, puts it, any software planning technique must try to create visibility. To create transparency regarding dependencies, Scaled Agile has introduced the program board. The program board impresses with its simplicity. According to SAFe, there is a clear flow of how dependencies should be visualized with physical sticky notes so that both teams have the same understanding when it's visualized on the program board. PIPlanning.io is actually the only tool in the market that enables this face-to-face dependency handling flow in a digital world without creating chaos. We know from SAFe that one of the great business benefits of PI planning is establishing face-to-face communication across all team members and stakeholders. Face-to-face communication. Since 2020, we can all tell that this can be a real challenge. But let me demonstrate briefly how it works in PIPlanning.io with an inter-art dependency. Let's say our team is called Geek Guild. We go to the program backlog board and see that the bookshelf robot feature has the highest WSJF value. So we decide that we take on this feature. After we assign it to our team, it automatically appears on the program board in the program backlog column next to our team name, Geek Guild. At this point, we don't have anything planned yet, so we don't know when we can deliver the bookshelf robot feature. So now we have to plan first. For this, we go to our team board and break down the feature into user stories. In this setup here, each of these user stories is automatically synchronized with Jira. After some planning, we start to know in which iteration we can deliver the bookshelf robot. So we place the feature in iteration 4 on the program board. But now we realize that in order for our bookshelf robot to hand out a book, we need to know which book it is. And this information can only be given by the team that develops the software for the QR code scanner. Now here is the dependency flow which takes place in PIPlanning.io in exactly the same way as in an in-person PI planning with physical sticky notes. We will now create a dependency sticky and explain in the summary what exactly we need from the other team. Once we are done with that, it's time to figure out which team can take it on. In our case, ideally the team that develops the QR code scanner. As we can see, the feature, Scan to Delivery, is assigned to the team Awkward All-Stars. Before we send the dependency to their team board, we have to check with them if they can take care of it. If Awkward All-Stars accepts it, we can give them our created dependency sticky to their board. For traceability of a dependency, the sticky note shows who originally created the dependency, i.e. our team, and the arrow from left to right indicates to which team we have a dependency, in this case, Awkward All-Stars. When we sent the dependency to Awkward All-Stars, the sticky note got a flag. As long as the flag is not removed by Awkward All-Stars, we know that they have not accepted it yet. This should never happen without communication between the teams. We can only achieve alignment with communication by talking to each other. And let's not forget that alignment is another one of the 4 core values of SAFe. Let's change perspective here for a moment and finish visualizing the dependency from the perspective of Awkward All-Stars. Awkward All-Stars received the dependency on their team board in the same iteration from where Geek Guild had sent it. Now, it's up to us, Awkward All-Stars, to plan it. Of course, if we find that we can't deliver the dependency in the desired iteration, we'll have to verbally coordinate it with Geek Guild. Never just assume that Geek Guild knows. PI planning is the best time to be transparent about concerns. Once the dependency is planned, we can now send it to the program board. Together with Geek Guild, we can visualize the dependency like we would on a physical board with a string, and we remove the flag to show that we have an agreed dependency between 2 teams. Here again in fast forward, Geek Guild creates the dependency sticky, sends it to Awkward All-Star after they agreed to take on the work. Awkward All-Stars plans it out and walks over to the program board to visualize the dependency together with Geek Guild. Done. Now let's assume real quick that you are using a simple digital whiteboard for this, which doesn't have the underlying dependency flow logic. With traditional digital whiteboards, it takes a lot of copy-pasting of stickies. As long as nothing changes, it's not a problem. But the plan lives and changes. We're agile. As soon as we have to change something, we have to remember to change it everywhere, on all the boards. If there is only one dependency, it can still go well. But as said in the beginning, who has only one dependency? PIPlanning.io solves the whole thing really easy and is not prone to human error, which rate is already high anyway in a hectic PI planning. So you have probably been wondering for some time now what this bookshelf robot is supposed to be. We have developed a solution-trained PI planning simulation. It is called Drivery Inc. 2 trains, Wonderland and Nerdbooks, develop a self-driving library. It's a really fun simulation. If you have a trainer account with PIPlanning.io, you can create the Drivery Inc. simulation with just 1 click. We also recommend our customers to run the simulation with their teams to train them on CrossART planning. If you're a trainer and want to try it out, then go to simulation.piplanning.io now and register a free training account. We have created a comprehensive guide and you have everything you need to run a successful solution-trained PI planning simulation. With the simulation guide, you also get the management presentation in the form of a video, which you can play in your training. This is a fun intro into the simulation and it creates an excellent learning environment. Now let's look at the CrossART dependency. So we have our solution train, which is called Drivery Inc. It contains 2 arts, Wonderland and Nerdbooks. Wonderland is responsible for getting the drivery to the right place. Nerdbooks is responsible for ensuring that the customer can borrow a book from the store and that the right one is handed over to him via the bookshelf robot. So in the Nerdbooks art, there is a team called the Intellectuals. The team, the Intellectuals, is currently planning the feature Notify Customer About Arrival. But how do they know when the self-driving library arrives? Apparently, they need this information from the other train. In the art wonderland, there is a team called Alice. Alice is currently planning the feature journey visualization in app like in the Uber app. So they know when the driver arrives at its destination. So obviously we have a dependency on the other train. Now the CrossART flow is not more complicated than the one within only one art. We create a dependency sticky note, write what we need. In the list we see the teams that are in our art together with us, or we click on select another art. There we can select the art Wonderland and send the dependency to the team Alice. Alice plans it out. Once they know when they can deliver, they just push their dependency to their program board for overview purposes. However, the dependency will not be linked on their art program board because the owner of the feature is in a different art, namely art notebooks. So the team, the intellectuals, now brings their dependency onto the program board and visualizes it. The dependency is displayed in the swim lane, other arts. On the dependency itself, we can always see to which team it points. Alice, on their side, can see to which feature the dependency sticky is linked when clicking on the link label. Here they can see the feature and that it is owned by the team, the intellectuals. And very helpful, they can also see in which iteration the intellectuals are planning to release this feature, which can be an excellent check if the dependency actually makes sense or if Alice delivers their work after the intellectuals want to release their feature, which obviously would not work out. We also recommend that the STE should create two types of dependency stickies: inter-art dependencies and cross-art dependencies with different colors. So you can see at first sight, when you look at the program board, which dependencies concern our art versus which are dependencies where we deliver work to other arts. And this is how you visualize cross-art dependencies with maximum transparency and alignment. Well, let's recall again how hard it is in a conventional digital whiteboard to manage dependencies and keep them up to date across all levels. I don't think it gets better when teams have cross-art dependencies, right? It definitely gets worse. So now is your chance to introduce it to your Agile Release Train or Solution Train. Go to trial.piplanning.io and register your trial now. Thanks for tuning in. And to top it off, we are now running our commercial again, which we produced especially for the CrossART feature. Enjoy!
There is this super STE, he's extremely smart, has a math degree. But there's this one big enemy, it's called the CrossART dependency. So reaches out to an old wise man who happens to have a master plan. It's called piplanning.io. He says, bro, that's the way you need to go. It's licky synced and yo, damn, it is smart. Better than your old school flip chart. You'll visualize the CrossART dependencies like Tarzan did it with the jungle trees. It's really easy, it goes with ease. Believe me, I'm an STE wannabe. The STE turns around and wants to go. The wise man says, bro, remember? What? piplanning.io. By the way, you should have tried this years ago. So go ahead and type in the URL. It's gonna solve your problems extremely well. I even have a shortcut ready for you. Use trial in front of piplanning.io.